Okay, excuse me. Welcome to another lesson on phrasal verbs. We're dealing with phrasal verbs with call today, and I'd like to start with call on something. This is exactly the same as draw on something, which we saw in the last class, the previous class, phrasal verbs with draw. If you draw on something, you normally exploit experience, knowledge or skills, and you draw on those skills, you call on those skills, that knowledge, that experience when you need it. Yes, for example, for an interview, but also for a new job, for a new project, whatever. You can call on your skills, your knowledge, your experience. So that's a very useful phrasal verb that I want you to remember. Now, you can also call on somebody to do something. If you are disgusted with what your politicians are doing, and let's be honest, most of us always are, then we call on them to resign. We demand that they resign. We demand that they step down. It's another good phrasal verb for resign. Yeah, we demand that these ministers step down. We call on the minister to resign. Yeah, it just means publicly demand. When you speak out against something, you publicly criticise. And when you call on somebody to do something, you demand publicly that that person does it. So normally you call on people to resign, or it's very common. But you might something completely different. You might call on the military to intervene, something like that. It could be used in any kind of way, and that means you publicly demand that the military intervene in some kind of situation. You might call on the police to crack down on pickpockets, because there's a lot of thievery, there's a lot of theft going on in your area. Now, if you call on somebody, this just means you go to their door and you knock on the door and you basically pay them a visit. When you call on somebody, you pay them a visit. It's the same as call in on somebody, call at somebody's house, call round somebody's house, drop round, pop by, pop over. We've got loads for pay somebody a visit. There are so many phrasal verbs for pay somebody a visit. I could fill up the board easily just with phrasal verbs that mean pay somebody a visit. Now, if you call somebody out, this is very specific, and it's the same as call somebody in. They sound like opposites, but they're not. They're synonyms. This means that you get somebody, usually a professional like a plumber or an electrician, you call that person to arrange them to do some kind of urgent work in your house. But you could also call the police out, meaning get them to your house because there's some kind of crime, or you need them to protect you, or you need them to help you in some kind of way. So you can call the police out, you can call the fire engines out. You could also get the fire engines round, you can get the police round, you can get the plumber round, which means the same thing. It's call him and get him to do some kind of service. And you can call the plumber in. Yeah, so remember that call somebody out and call somebody in are not opposites, they're synonyms, and they both mean to get some kind of professional, or maybe a policeman, a public servant, to your house on urgent business. Now, if you call somebody out on something, this something is always a mistake, an error, or a sin, some kind of bad behaviour, and you are telling everybody that they have made a mistake. So, you know, as a teacher, it's my job to call the students out on their mistakes. Of course, I have to correct mistakes, naturally. I have to pick my students up on their mistakes. So call somebody out on and pick somebody up on are the same. They're synonyms. And it just means to tell everybody that somebody has made a mistake. You know, you do tell everybody when you call somebody out on their mistake, or call somebody out on their crime, their error, whatever it is. But very common, this one, so do learn it. Alert somebody or the whole world to their mistake. Okay? Call something out is just the same as shout something out. Like he called out his name means, you know, Philip, Philip. He called out the name Philip, yeah? Shouted the name Philip out. It's very literal, very easy one.